All right, so there's a few reasons why we usually want to include research in many different types of assignments, but particularly when we are trying to share information with the audience or trying to persuade them of something. And one of those reasons is that it provides an expert voice and evidence to support your reasoning. And if you use the Hennepin Tech library, you'll be able to ensure the credibility of those resources because you're able to find published, peer-reviewed resources that have gone through several stages before being accepted and published. And you have free access to these research databases while you're a student at Hennepin Tech, which is great because a lot of these resources, most of these resources, aren't available for free on the general internet. So we're going to start with a brief little tour of the library website. So we're going to go to hennepintech.edu/library. And one way to get there is to just go to the Hennepin Tech homepage and click on Current Students and then Library. And you'll see three main tabs welcome you here: Library One Search, Find a Database, and Help. And then below that we have some additional resources here. So one area you might want to check out would be About the Library, which has lending policies and resources available, including course reserve textbooks, which most people don't know about, which you can check out for 4 hours at a time just to make sure you can get your homework done if you are waiting on a textbook or if you've lost a textbook, etc. And we also have laptops for 2-day checkout that allow you to, do work at home, as well as some contact information if you have questions. And then we also have research tools and guides, which are very helpful when you're working on any kind of research project. So the LibGuides are sets of resources that can help you find the information that you're looking for. And we have some that are set up for different fields. We have some that are just, general pieces of information like how to and how to use the databases, and APA and MLA citation help. So those are great because it's just a bunch of gathered resources to help you with what you're working on. All right, gonna flip back here. And there are also some help videos, Learning Express library, other tools as well. But the place you're probably going to spend most of your time when you're a student at Hennepin Tech is in the Find a Database tab. This Find a Database tab, we have access to about 50 different databases, which are collections of publications. So there'll be newspaper publications, books, journals, trade magazines, just about anything you can think of. They'll be collected and stored in these databases. And you have two ways to search. You have alphabetically, if you know the name of the database. So, for example, Academic Search Premier is a great general database, meaning that just about any topic should be found here. And you can also look at this drop-down menu here that shows you different fields or programs at Hennepin Tech. And if you click on one, let's do emergency medical services. And the top resources are going to be the databases that are specifically recommended for that field or that area. And then these other resources listed below are going to be those general databases that would be helpful for any field. So if you can't find something in the field-specific databases, you've got broader general databases to look through. All right, you've also got this Library One Search, which is great for books and ebooks and videos that you can watch. And you just type what you're searching for in the search box, and it will give you all kinds of resources. On the left are going to be the books and videos and ebooks. On the right are going to be some recommended articles, but it's mostly useful for these ebooks, books, and movies. And you can tell if it's a print book because it'll tell you which library it's at, if it's Brooklyn Park or Eden Prairie, and it'll give you the call number. So it starts with some letters, and then it gives you a bunch of numbers and maybe some more letters. This is the call number that will help either you or the library staff find the book. They are also sometimes available by ebook or video. So here we have a streaming video where you would just click on it and you can get access to watch the video on campus or from home. And then here's an example of an electronic book where you click on it and it will let you read the book online. And then sometimes it will let you print portions, chapters, a certain number of pages off, but it just depends on the settings in the database as far as what you can print and how much. All right. This last little tab, the Help tab, is a great thing to remember. If you need help, it's better to ask rather than to get frustrated or give up. So this Help tab here has different ways that you can contact the library to get some help. So the Brooklyn Park Library, Eden Prairie Library phone numbers. You can always swing by the library when it's open. 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Fridays, not open on the weekends. So you can call or stop by during those hours to get some help. You can email the library to get a question. There'll be a little bit of a turnaround, but we usually try to get to them within 24 hours. Or a great option is to chat a librarian, and this one is actually 24/7. And since the library is part of a consortium that has libraries from all over the world working together, you can go on this site at 3 in the morning and say, I need to ask a librarian, chat with a librarian, put in your name, your email, your question, and you will actually be able to get somebody pretty quickly, if not right away, and they will answer your question and have access to the Hennepin Tech databases, so they can even help you with our specific databases, not just what they have available to them. So that's a great option for night owls or people that want help right away when the library isn't open. Remember that that is an option. And the best way to get there is help, ask the library, and then chat a librarian. All right, so that's a general overview of the library website. Again, most of the time for in-depth research, we encourage people to go to the Find a Database and do some searching there. So we're going to go over how to choose a topic and then start coming up with some search terms for that topic. All right, so just a heads up, when you use the library website off-site, so not on campus, it will ask you to show that you're a Hennepin Tech student by entering your STAR ID, username, and password, and that will come up between clicking on the database that you want to look in and actual access to the database. So you will need to have that if you're off-site. Just giving you a heads up, this is what it looks like. If it's giving you problems, then definitely call the library and they can usually help you or reset passwords or things like that, just for the access to the databases here. All right, so picking a topic can be tricky. A lot of people will look to personal experience to see things that interest them. Some people look through recent news stories to see what's current and relevant, something that people are talking about. Since you're in school, you can also look at recent class discussions and see if anything has interested you. Of course, you can use your textbook. That often has examples and suggestions of further reading that might have topics of interest to you. You can use the open internet, which, can be a bit much when you have, all access to all the information that's out there, several trillion websites. So that can be a bit overwhelming, but a good place to start would be the library databases, two of them in particular, the Points of View Reference Center and the Issues and Controversies database. Those two have browse issues options, which are great because then you can just get a list of issues that people have researched and written about in the past. All right, so we're going to take a moment to pop over to the website again, and I'm going to show you what that looks like, the browse an issue part of the Points of View Reference Center and the Issues and Controversies. So we'll start with Issues and Controversies first. So again, if you're on the library website, click Find a Database, and Issues and Controversies starts with an I. So you want to click that one, then you see it right here. And again, if you're off-site, it's going to say, hey, can you give me your Star ID, username, and password? Put that in and you'll get instant access. So this is one of our newer databases, and it's great because it's focusing on controversies or issues that are happening, all over the world. And so there's a very broad spectrum of topics. And you can, of course, search for a specific topic by typing the topic in here and searching for it. Or you can look at where it says issues and get a list of issues that they have covered in this database. And they're usually broad enough that you would not have any trouble, narrowing down the focus and finding it in other databases as well. So for example, I'll just look at adoption here. You can click on adoption and it gives you a brief overview, and you can get a longer overview if you'd like, covering the basics of the topic here. And the topic is really, really broad when you can talk about it with one word or just a couple of words, right? So adoption, you might be wondering, what about adoption? You got to narrow that down, right? Because there's books, whole series of books just about that broad topic. And what this database does is it actually gives you some recommended questions to help you start focusing your topic. So for example, should health insurance plans cover contraception? Should new parents receive paid leave from employers? There are a couple of questions, and you can see they just keep going on and on. And if you find a question that you like, you would click on it, and again it would give you some overview information of the topic. And then you can also download this, by the way. If you find information and you're like, oh, I might want to use this in the future, I would recommend downloading this and saving it, to your computer or emailing the PDF. And then you also have the citation option where it gives you the MLA or CMS citation for this source, which you can copy and paste, save into a Word file. All right, so that is the Issues and Controversies database. We also have the Points of View Reference Center. So find a database, go to P for Points of View. And this one also has a browse by category. You can click on Show All if you want to see all the different topics that they recommend and that they have covered in this database. So for example, overfishing, Gives you an overview. And again, you can email this to yourself, or you could figure out what the citation is here. And this one has a lot to choose from, APA, MLAs here, etc. And save that in a Word document so you have access to it later. And then it gives you a bunch of related resources. So people taking a point of view, magazines, newspapers, academic journals. So it's linked to a lot of great resources for you right off the bat. So those are helpful if you are stuck and you don't know what broad topic to start with. So they can give you a good sense of broad topics that are out there to get started. Once you have a broad topic selected, and sometimes your instructor will give you a broad topic, right? Sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes you do get a choice where to start. Once you have your broad topic, you need to start focusing it, because you can't take on very broad topics in any kind of depth. And usually with academic assignments, your instructors are looking for depth of information and knowledge, not breadth of information on the topic. So we're looking for deeper information, not surface level. So if I were to pick the broad topic of teenage pregnancy, again, a lot of information out there, a lot of different facets within this topic. I want to start thinking about how I can narrow it down. One way to do that is to think about questions that I have about this topic. So I can say, are abstinence-only programs effective against teen pregnancy? Does access to contraceptives reduce teen pregnancy? What is the rate of teen pregnancy? Has it increased or decreased in recent years? And what is the government stance on teenage pregnancy prevention? So looking at these questions, I can come up with a focus topic that is narrower than the broad topic of just teenage pregnancy, but it is not so narrow that I'm going to find like a yes or no answer or just like a specific set of data. So my question, the focus topic here, are abstinence-only programs effective against teenage pregnancy? And this one is a debatable yes-no answer, because you're going to find people that say yes, you're going to find people that say no. So it's a good one to investigate and see what people say and realize that there will be some disagreement on the answer to that, depending on what you define as effective, right? But that question is still, pretty broad, and I can still narrow it down. So that's what we're going to focus on coming up next here, is trying to ask smaller questions to figure out what information I'm really looking for with regards to this topic. But if I want to phrase it as a statement, I could take, either side at this point. Once I do some research, I should be able to better answer this question. But phrased as a statement, you could say abstinence-only programs are not effective against teen pregnancy. So question form at the top, statement form at the bottom. And I'm going to ask you to pause the video here and take about 10 to 15 minutes to select a broad topic that you are interested in, and then to brainstorm some questions to help do the initial focusing of that topic. So I had about 4 or 5 questions. That's a good number to aim for. And then one of those questions would probably end up being what you're interested in for focusing your main topic. All right, so select a broad topic, brainstorm questions to help narrow the focus down, and then pick one of those questions to ultimately be your focus topic. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and work on that for a little bit, and when you're ready, you can start the video back up. All right, welcome back. Hopefully everybody has had a chance to find a broad topic and then start narrowing it down to find the scope that they actually want to cover. And this worksheet here is designed to help you with starting with that broad topic, narrowing down to some questions that you have, and then your ultimate focused topic as a question or a statement if need be. And we're going to move on to creating keywords that you can use to search for information on that topic. So this is going to be activity number 2 we're going to be working on. All right, so the example topic that I have here is are abstinence-only programs effective against teen pregnancy? And a related question that I might have would be, does access to contraceptives reduce teen pregnancy? The interesting thing about related questions is that you can have a bunch of them to help you explore information within your main topic. So I'm just going to use one related question here as an example to show you how you can pull keywords out of it to search for information. But you can have, 5, 6, 10, as many related questions as you need to help you find the information that you're looking for. All right, so what we're going to do, looking at our focus topic question and the related question here, is look for the words that are absolutely essential to the information in the question, and then ignore the other parts of the sentence. And the reason why we're going to do this is that if you were looking in Google's been around since like 1994, and it has really sophisticated algorithms. So if you put these questions into Google, you would find information, lots of related information coming back, different websites that would have, hopefully, information that's related and relevant to your topic. But the article databases are not as sophisticated. They're actually going more in depth versus, again, breadth of information. And they are newer, they haven't been around and learning as long as Google has. So we can't put in whole questions, we can only put in keywords and phrases to search for information. So if you look at the focus topic here, the two key phrases that I would pull out of this to search in the databases would be abstinence only, or possibly abstinence only programs, and teen pregnancy. And later, depending on how my searches go, I might pull in the word effective or preventing, something like that, to indicate more specifically what I'm looking for. But I'll start with those two, abstinence only and teen pregnancy. And looking at the related question below, does access to contraceptives reduce teen pregnancy? I would ask you, are there words or phrases in there that are absolutely essential to finding information for that question versus words that are extra, unnecessary. So for example, any prepositions like the word to would be unnecessary. So, not to hold you in suspense here, again, teen pregnancy is one of our main terms, so that comes up again in this question here. And then we have a new word or phrase you could pull, contraceptives, or you could pull contraceptions and reduce if interested. But we're going to get rid of does access to completely because we are not phrasing this as a sentence or question. All right, so we take those words and phrases and we get rid of everything else. So we've got abstinence only, teen pregnancy again, and contraceptives. And then there's one more thing we need to do when we're talking about search terms, and that is find related terms, because the search terms are going to be looking for exact matches. So what that means is when you type in the word abstinence only into the database, it's only going to be looking for that word. It's not going to be looking for synonyms or similar words, just that one exactly how you've spelled it. So a couple of things. One, you need to make sure you spell things correctly. And two, we're going to look for related terms to broaden our search, because it's possible that writers might have used a similar word or a different word that has a similar meaning. And we want to be able to find that article even though it's using slightly different wording than what we've typed into the original search term box. So taking our top two, our focus topic, we could do abstinence only, or we could broaden it up a little bit and just use the word abstinence. Again, it's going to search for those two exact words. And we can take teen pregnancy and teen mother, because they might not use the exact phrase teen pregnancy. They might say teen mother or teenage mother. And we want to look for that. And notice that there's an or between them. When we type this into the search term box, we put an or between it when we want to say this or that, and it broadens our results. If you put an and between them, it's going to say it has to have this and that, and it's going to narrow your results. And so you can use them to mix and match. For the related question, you could say contraceptives or contraception or condoms or birth control. Again, it's going to look only for the exact match of whatever you type in. And then teen pregnancy or teen mother. All right, so we can take those phrases and put them together. So abstinence and teen pregnancy were the two terms from our focus topic. And our related question had contraceptive and teen pregnancy. So you're looking for articles that talk about both of those terms, not either or, because we have and in between them. And then another version of the related question would be, instead of saying contraceptive, you could say birth control and teen pregnancy. All right. So I'm going to show you, again, in a little bit, how to use those terms. But at this point in time, I want you to come up with your own set so that while I'm showing you how to use them in the databases, you can actually plug your own terms in and actually do some research. So take about 15 to 20 minutes here and take your focused topic question and try to write down some related questions. You know, aim for a few that will help you explore your topic. From those questions, choose the best 2 or 3 keywords from your focus topic. Then choose the best 2 or 3 keywords from any of your related questions. And come up with related words and synonyms. Remember, so you can find anything related to that topic regardless of the exact terminology that the authors use. And start planning out your search. And your Word document here will help you find that information, right? So in activity 2, after you've brainstormed some questions up above, start looking for those keywords from the focus topic. List them here. Keywords from your relevant questions, list them here. And then on this side, include your related words and phrases. So these would be related terms, synonyms, etc. Make sure they're closely enough related that you're looking for the same thing, not something completely different. Then beneath that, you can start thinking about ways that you could put those strings together. So here's another example on your handout where you have one option for looking for information about police violence, Black Lives Matter, race, protests, that kind of thing. You've got police and Black Lives Matter, so articles would have to talk about both of those. Police and violence in Black Lives Matter, so again, articles would have to mention all 3 of those things. Or another option, police and violence and protest, 3 different things that would have to be mentioned in the articles that come back. So you can create those strings here, come up with a few so that you can plug them into the database. All right, so take about 15 to 20 minutes to work on that. And when we come back, I'll show you how to plug those into the databases and further refine your searches to get the information you're looking for quickly. All right, so go ahead and pause the video right now. All right, welcome back. Hopefully everybody has some search terms that they have generated, because I'm going to show you now how to put them into an article database and then further refine the information that you're getting back. So just as an example here, I'm going to use the keywords that I came up with earlier for the broad topic of teen pregnancy, and then my focus question about if abstinence only positively impacts teen pregnancy, which initially signs were pointing to no, it was not effective. So the keywords that I'm coming up with here would be abstinence and teen pregnancy, contraceptive and teen pregnancy, birth control and teen pregnancy. And I'm going to try putting them in and seeing what kind of results come up. One thing I wanted to mention before we get started is this asterisk here. You might be wondering, why is there an asterisk? That is because when you look for exact words, there is one way to say look for any words that have this as the beginning, and that is the asterisk. So if I put the asterisk after the word teen, it's going to look for teen, teens, plural, teenage, teenager, you know, any word that starts with the first four letters of teen there. So you might want to look to see if there are any words where if you have like a plural or the possibility for a different form of the word like teen versus teenager, you might want to look for those and see if you can abbreviate it to the first set of letters that they all share, so all those words share, and then put an asterisk at the end. All right, so to start plugging these into the databases, we need to go back to the library website. So from the Hennepin Tech website, current students, go to library, go to find a database, and I'm going to show you how to use the Academic Search Premier. So this is one of the general databases that will have, you know, almost any topic you can think of. It should have some resources. And it's actually one of the more common database formats. So if you know how to search in Academic Search Premier, you'll also be able to search in a bunch of our other databases like EBSCO, Megafile, CINAHL Plus, etc. So I'm going to go to A, so find a database, and then A for Academic Search Premier. Click on that. And this is the front page here. It's going to give you one text box to search with, which if you're okay with that, you can just start typing in and searching there. I do want to show you there's an option for an advanced search, which gives you multiple areas for search terms, and you can mix and match with and or if there's something you're not looking for, you could put in not this. So I'm going to type in an example here just to show you why it's important to have keywords to limit your results. So if I type in teen pregnancy and just search that really broad topic, in this database I come up with 3,900 articles or search results. And I don't know about you, but I'm not going to read almost 4,000 articles to determine what's helpful and what's not helpful for my topic. Okay, so that is why we are going to mix and match terms. So in addition to teen pregnancy, if I type in abstinence, oops, gotta type correctly here. And I'm going to type in just abstinence for right now to see how it's going to reduce So I'm reduced down to 169 articles, which is much better than almost 4,000, right? And what it's saying with these search results is that each of these articles has to mention teen pregnancy and abstinence. All right, so I can also type in some of my or options. So I could type in abstinence only or abstinence. And remember that little asterisk I used? I can put that up there with teen so that it knows to look for teens, teenager, teenage, etc. Okay, so if I do that, I should receive more results. Yep, so I'm broadening it with the or this and the teen with the asterisk there. So now I'm up to 220, which is getting high again, right? I would generally recommend to have between about 30 and 200 search results because that's manageable. What happens if you get above that is it's just, not focused enough and you're going to get a lot of stuff that's not helpful to you. And if it's fewer than 30, the possibility that you're leaving good resources out because you're being too specific is a possibility. So that's where we get the rule of thumb of, about 30 to 200. And the database will actually sort these according to relevance. So it thinks that this first one is the most relevant to my search terms there, and the second one is the second most relevant, etc., etc. So the further on we get, the less relevant they're going to become. So I don't need to look through all 224 of these. I can stop at some point and try a different search. But it's a good number to start with here. So I want to show you some of the other ways to limit the search results here. So in Academic Search Premier, they're going to be on the left-hand side if you've started searching already. So it says limit to, and you have the option of full text here. And what that means is if you click it, you will only have results that you have access to the full article right away. And you can tell the difference here because it'll have a PDF or it'll have this HTML full text if you have access to it right away. If you don't, like down here in number 6, you can see it says link to check for full text, or you can try to interlibrary loan request it. That means that we don't have access to it right away, and you can click on the interlibrary loan. And it's thinking. And you would type in the 14-digit number from the back of your student ID, and then your last name, and that would let you request the article, which is great because you have access to, pretty much anything. But it might take a few days to sometimes a couple weeks to get that resource. If it's a book, they would probably mail it to the library and then you could pick it up there. If it's a chapter of a book or an article, something that's shorter, they would just email you that document to your Hennepin Tech email, which is pretty nice because then, you don't have to make an extra trip anywhere. So the thing to remember though is, to do the interlibrary loan, make sure that you have enough time that you can, wait for the actual article before working on the project. If you don't have time or you think that's too much of a hassle, you can click full text and you will only get the articles that you have immediate access to. And you'll notice we went from 224 down to 133. So we got rid of quite a few that we would have had to request for interlibrary loan. Some other options, you could say they need to cite their sources, so they need to have references. You could also say it needs to be peer-reviewed, which means that somebody else, at least one other person who's an expert in the field, has reviewed it and said, yep, this is good information, you can accept it for publication. So that's really helpful. Below that, you have the date range, and you can see that it starts 1990 and goes up to last year as our latest publication. Sometimes instructors will give you a date range, and they'll say, make sure your sources are no more than 5 years old or 10 years old. And so that is something to pay attention to, because if they say, oh, they have to be within the last 10 years, you would want to change this to 2006. And if we do that, we go from 133 down to 78 articles. So that is a way of reducing the number of articles you need to sort through and making sure you have the most recent, most relevant information, because a lot has changed regarding teenage pregnancy and abstinence-only programs between the 1990s and today. So we're looking for really relevant stuff. Below that, you can see that there are options for different source types. So you can see that they have magazines, academic journals, newspapers, trade publications to choose from. And it tells you how many of each are available. So 36 magazine articles, 32 academic journals, 9 newspapers, 1 trade publication. And whatever you click on will limit to that source type. So if you absolutely need a scholarly source that has been peer-reviewed, checked over for accuracy, you could click on academic journals. And then we're down to 32 articles that have these search terms in them, are full text, are within the last 10 years, and are academic journal articles. All right. Below that, you also have like a geography option. So if you want to make sure that you're talking about the United States, within the United States, you could click that. And that'll get it down to 18 results. Or, of course, I'm going to hit the back button here, you could also add United States as one of your search terms. So it has to be about teen pregnancy, abstinence only, and have the United States in there somewhere, and get a different set of results. All right, so that's how you find a bunch of results. Again, the ones at the top are going to be the most relevant according to the database algorithms. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. What you want to do now is you want to scan through the titles to see if it's relevant to your topic, and if it is, then you can click on it and look at the abstract. So looking at the top one here, abstinence-only education and teenage pregnancy rates, why we need comprehensive sex education in the US, seems good for my topic. And if we go in, it'll say, well, here are the authors. Here is the journal, which is +1. It was published in 2011, volume 6, issue 10, pages 1 to 11. It's an article. These are the subject terms that they found within it that are related. And then what I really am looking for here is the abstract. So this one paragraph summary of the article, most of the articles will have this, and it's usually written by the author of the publication of the article, so it should be accurate. And it basically just summarizes the article in one paragraph. So from that, reading this paragraph, you can determine if it's going to be helpful or not. So I'm going to just look at this and say, okay, it looks good. I'm going to keep it for later. So I want to keep researching, but I'm going to save this article for later, read it fully then, and decide if I'm going to use it or not at that point in time. So you have a few options if you want to get this article. One is you can click over here on the right where it says PDF full text. You can get the full article right then and there. This might take a second to load. And here is the article itself. Again, if there's no abstract, I could just look at the introduction and see if it's relevant and something I want to keep. There will be an option to download it from here. On my screen, it's right here, this little down arrow. Sometimes it's down here or up here. If you float your cursor in those areas, it'll pop up with a, hey, you want to download this? All right. I'm going to go back to the other page, though, for just a second to show you that you don't have to go in and get the PDF there. You can just use these tools on the side if you want. And the best way to keep track of your articles is actually to email them to yourself. So you would click this little envelope that says email, and you have to type in your email address. Make sure you type it in correctly, otherwise it'll go to the wrong person or just won't show up at all, right? In the subject, I would put in something, otherwise it'll probably go into your junk mailbox or spam box, right? So you could put in Article 1 or just random letters and numbers, you know, whatever. And if you want the citation for it, which would be your reference entry or works cited entry, you can click over here and choose the one that you want sent. So if you're doing MLA, it's right here, you would click that. If you're doing APA style, another common one used, you would click that. And it would send the actual article and the reference entry or works cited entry to your email. So I can show you, it'll give you a little, hey, email confirmation, we sent it there. And then you would probably want to check it in your email. So that's one way to get both the article and the citation. If you're not doing that, you know, you can always download it, save it yourself, but then you have to get the citation over here, this gold piece of paper that says cite. You would have to go in and get the citation yourself. So find the citation style that you're using, copy and paste it from here into a Word document and save that for later. That's one way to do it. I want to point out that you can't copy this URL at the top here because this is just a temporary URL for this individual search. And once you close the window, it's going to become a broken link. It's not going to go anywhere. If you really just want to save the URL, over on the right-hand side here, click permalink, and this is the URL you want. It says HTC proxy, blah, blah, blah. You would want to copy and paste that into a Word document or wherever you're saving the URLs, because that will always come back to this article. The one up here in the browser window will not. All right. So that's how you start looking for articles. Once you find one, you can use the back button or go back to the results list and keep going through. Look at the second one. If that looks good, click into it, read the abstract. If it looks good, email it to yourself and you'll check it out later. My rule of thumb is that I always over-research by half, at least, on my initial round of research. So for example, if I'm doing a project and I know that I need at least 5 sources for that project, I'm going to search for at least 7 or 8, if not twice as many as I need. The reason why is that, you found these sources, they look good at first glance, but when you actually start reading them, they might not actually be relevant, or they might not be helpful or talking about what you want to write about or speak about in a presentation. So you need to then be able to get rid of those and throw them out and say, okay, that one didn't work. And if you over-researched, if you found more than you needed, the likelihood is when you throw out all the bad ones, you'll still have a good number of sources, to meet whatever the source requirement is. However, it's not uncommon that you might need to do some additional research later on. That's actually very common for papers and for creating speeches and presentations, that you do your initial set of research, realize that there's something you want to talk about that isn't covered, then come back, do some additional research using search terms to find exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so research is not a very quick, easy thing. It takes time, and knowing the tricks and being able to use the article databases will definitely cut back on that time. If you just use the open internet, you're not going to find quality sources, or they're going to say that you need to pay for them, which, don't do. And it actually takes longer using Google and, other search engines on the internet than just using the article databases. So that is something that I wanted to point out. And I have a couple last messages here before I want you to start doing your own research. So I'm going to move along here. Some recommended research databases would be the Issues and Controversies database that was one of the two that we started in. Points of View Reference Center was the other. Academic Search Premier is the one I just showed you. And EBSCO Megafile is an even bigger general database than Academic Search Premier, and it looks exactly the same. So if you know how to use Academic Search Premier, you can use Megafile. Remember that books and videos are available on the Library One search. And of course, there are field-specific databases in that drop-down menu in the Find a Database tab. So if you know what field your topic is a part of, that might be helpful to search as well. Remember to mix and match your search terms, and makes your results smaller or will make your results bigger, right? So mix and match those, try them out. And if you're not finding what you need, you do have some options. Try different keywords, mix and match your keywords and phrases to try and find what you're looking for. Try different databases. So try general databases, try field-specific databases. Don't just try one and give up. You got to try a few usually. And then ask for help if you get stuck. So you can ask the library in person or over the phone. You can chat a librarian. You can even set up research sessions if you'd like some one-on-one or small group help. Contact the library, which I have here, or you can email me directly. I am the interim librarian through February 20th while Jenny's on maternity leave. And then Jenny is coming back on the 21st. So if you need help and you want like a little research session, or you have a question, feel free to email me through February 20th, or you can email Jenny, Jenny Simning, after February 20th. She's our normal, permanent librarian. And again, here are the phone numbers for Brooklyn Park Library and Eden Prairie Library. If you have questions, they can walk you through things over the phone as well. All right, well, thank you for your time and attention, and good luck on your projects.